This is a HeadGum podcast.
Who's that knocking at the door? It's all your friends, you filthy whore. Your husband's gone and we've got books and a bottle of wine to kill. It's Hollywood. It's books. It's gossip. I'm shook. It's memoirs. It's martinis. It's Studio 54. It's Fellini. It's Celebrity Book Club. Come read it while it's hot. Celebrity Book Club. Tell your secrets, we won't talk. Celebrity Book Club. No boys are allowed. Celebrity Book Club. Say it loud and proud. Celebrity Book Club.
Buzz me in, I brought the Cuervo.
Podcast vibes.
Hey, best friend.
Hey, best friend. It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you. We need to reconnect.
We absolutely need to touch base about this incredible, exciting book that we've been reading and not talking about.
No, we don't talk about the books.
No, we don't.
Because we talk about everything else during the week.
Sex.
Money.
Drugs.
Finance.
Parents.
Real estate.
Actually, this has been one of my favorite books that we've read so far.
Same. I ate it up.
So let's just start with the title. It's called If You Don't Have Big Breasts, Put Ribbons on Your Pigtails and Other Lessons I Learned from My Mom by Barbara Corcoran.
Barbara Corcoran. And if you don't know that sizzling name, Barbara Corcoran, she was one of the top real estate agents in the country, in the world. The Corcoran Group.
Yes.
You'll see listings for their apartments, homes, everywhere all across this
now, of course,
amazing nation.
Sold that company several years ago to the tune of, some might say $70 million. But, of course, the firm still bears her name, and you'll see those signs all over New York, sweetheart.
And that's the deal that she made, to keep the name.
Absolutely.
Because she's a smart businesswoman.
She's a smart businesswoman. She knows that branding matters.
But we really got to know her through the hit show Shark Tank.
You may know her as the horniest shark on the tank.
Also one of the smartest sharks, I think.
Super smart.
I want to talk about the cover of this book for 2 seconds. It's bright yellow.
Which stands out on a shelf, honey.
Okay, and it's a photo of her shockingly wearing a denim jacket. And you're normally seeing Barbara on Shark Tank in a blue dress. That basically she wears a blue dress.
In a blue bodycon dress. Let's not let's not mince words. Like she is the tightest.
So tight. And she has a hot bod.
What, she weighs about $110?
Sure. She has that kind of short, pixie 60s French cut.
She's got a full, like, pixie, cropped little, like, Rosemary's Baby bob at all times.
Mia Farrow, you know?
She's, like, wetting the chair every time a group of, like, 4 brothers comes on to the tank.
Who are, like, 29. So Shark Tank, if you haven't seen it, is where people pitch businesses to sharks, and she's one of the sharks, and then they invest in their business.
Yeah, sorry, if you're absolutely brain dead and been in a coma for the past 40 years and don't know what Shark Tank is.
Some people are anti-TV, kill your TV.
No,
sorry,
actually,
I come from like a punk background,
you
and
I
just want to kind of like shout out like those folks for a second.
I'm kind of glad that sort of in the streaming era, like we don't really have to deal with people being just like, I actually don't even own a TV anymore.
I also feel like in high school, a lot of people were just like, psh, I actually don't fucking watch TV.
Oh, because you went to a high school that was like very proto-DSA, like before that existed for others.
And then my friend group got labeled the TV intellectuals because they were like, that group of freaks watches TV.
Wait, what?
The punk crew at my high school, who we called the black vegan bisexuals because they like all were black and were so like anarchy. And then they...
I like that black for in high school meant wearing black.
Because it was such a white
the whitest
school.
Boston suburb.
Anyway, so then they called us the TV intellectuals.
That's like honestly the sexiest name.
I know, how sexy
they
is
were
that?
just like, oh yeah, you guys, you're so fucking Camila Paglia, and just like writing really interesting like
essays on the OC. It's like, yeah, I absolutely am a TV intellectual. They were just like, your friend group invented think pieces. Right.
Wait, what? I don't even believe that's true.
Are you so
I'm
jealous?
So
It's
jealous
crazy.
Right now.
Steven was really, so we went to the same middle school and then I left and you were like really mad at me because I had to go to this like punk privileged school.
Yeah, and you were also like deeply conflicted because you thought you were so punk, but you're also like desperate to just have martinis and go to Marc Jacobs with me. And you did. Anyway, just back to the cover for 1 second.
She's wearing a denim jacket, which is
basically, bottom line,
casual.
she's in a denim jacket, which is casual, and she's super like sexy and like bodycon usually.
She's also like 73.
Well, what's weird, okay, so the book takes place, it's seemingly in the 1910s. This memoir is literally, it's like a chronicle of New York and this like
everything takes place on the
like,
Upper East
Rat
Side
Pack era. Like she's constantly going to just like Donovan's and like the Algonquin and like when she stays at the Barbizon Hotel for women. And I'm just like, where are these establishments? Like I'm desperate to like
old New York. We need to go do a night at the Barbizon Hotel for women.
What happens is she like never has sex till this like guy wanders into her diner.
So
Ramon.
she's from New Jersey, a big Irish family.
She has 5 brothers and like 5 sisters, and all the boys sleep in one room and all the girls sleep in another.
And their parents like sleep on a fold out.
Living in like a dilapidated like 7-story cabin underneath an amusement
And there's
park.
like Nana Willow downstairs and Aunt Heather upstairs. It's very Nana upstairs, Nana downstairs.
And every single person in her town like has like this crazy nickname. She's like, well, Tommy Two-Tone.
and
then
Fatty
like,
Patty.
Like, Fatty Patty and like Jimmy Jomp Jorp. And it's just like, what are all these full like 1910 Sandlot names?
Has called the past.
Okay, do you think that her brother who is like Timmy Tiptoe is gay?
Statistically, right? Like 1 out of 10. So
2 out of 10.
I think this
You
changed.
have 10 kids?
Well, my
I'm
mom is the
sorry.
oldest of 11, and like 2 are gay and 1 is bi. So
Yeah.
there
And
you go.
I think,
That's
and some of
stats
them, some of them passed away probably before they had a chance to make peace with their sexualities.
No, he was actually out and proud. Talking about my dead uncle here on our podcast.
No, I am saying that there might be others. Okay, because of our parents' generation, not everybody felt comfortable coming out of the closet.
Anyway, so what is it? It's 1971.
Sure.
And this is how it all happened for her.
This is basically how Barbara Corcoran got her start. Was by meeting a man.
Right, and she was working at the diner.
In Edgewater, New Jersey.
And there was another popular waitress with big old taws, and all the customers would go to her. But this day, a man walked in a wool suit, and he saw Babs.
With ribbons in her pigtails. So she became known as like Pigtail girl. And she's bouncing around on her side of the diner. And she was basically said, everyone went to What's-Her-Face for the big tits, but they came to me for the pigtails.
The convo and the conversation.
So that was her hook. And then once they got there, then she was Mrs. Gift of Gab, and she was talking.
And she was like, and that was my counter.
Right.
Now, Mr. Ramon Simone
So
walks
she's in there one day. She's got pigtails bouncing around, da-da-da. This guy walks in.
And he looks like a businessman, okay? Not the type of guy that usually is in that diner.
Oh, hell no. Not some working-class Irishman from Edgewater, New Jersey. Absolutely not.
With his slicked back hair, dark hair, and fine suit. And he asked for the girl with the pigtails.
Because he's heard about it.
Now they start chatting. And he says, hey, leave with me.
He says, I'm going
to give you a ride home.
Let me give you a ride home. So
she said, I didn't have to think twice.
Yeah, she hops in this car. I mean, this was the time when you just trusted people and you got in strange men's cars.
Well, I think if they were hot, yes.
Right. So she gets a ride home back to her
Edgewater
very
house.
busy home with her 10 brothers and sisters.
Now, her parents are extremely sus of Ramon Simone.
Right. And the mom is just like, don't you give that man, your turn, don't give him your body or whatever. But he just wanted to give her a ride home. But then he starts coming into the diner.
And he's giving her rides home every night. Rides home.
She doesn't really say when they fuck.
Yeah, she's being apt because she's like, I guess these things were dates. I didn't know what to call them. Right. And it's like, so obviously you fucked in the car.
And I think it just speaks to a time when a man could walk into a diner, sweep a woman off her feet.
Dark, tall, and handsome.
Put her up in the
Hotel Barbizon
Hotel for Women in Manhattan. Give her money to buy an outfit and start a real estate office with her. And men don't do that anymore.
Also, it was a very movie where she's like, Mom, I'm going to the big city. And I'm going with Ramon Simone. Her mom is straightening her hair in her suitcase. And she's like, you can always come back here.
And it's just we're just talking about going to New Jersey. It's not that far.
But that's fully the plot of Coyote Ugly. Where just she's like, Dad, I'm leaving. And then just takes a 40-minute bus to New York. And has her one suitcase. Okay, also can we talk about how Ramon Simone is Basque?
And he rolls it. He's just like, I'm from Basque country.
Yes.
And it's actually like where the elite of Spain and France meet. And it's just like, this is so fucking random as hell.
From now on, I'm rolling into any diner and I'm saying, hello, I'm Lily.
I mean,
I'm from Basque.
I'm from Basque. I mean, saying you're Basque is very like, who can argue? It's just like,
no one's going to test that.
no, because it's like, well, you're just like not Spanish, but you're not French, and you're also
both.
like of descent. So it's just like you could be insanely pale and like still be Basque, and it's like no one's gonna really call you out in it.
No.
Because like he has this thing where he's like trying to be like such a like Latin suave man, but like,
It's like you're French.
but then he's just like, it's just Ray Simon.
Which is, I feel like that's the ultimate thing of like the 70s, 80s is like people were always changing their names to sound sexier.
That was a thing back then?
From the 50s, like people were always changing their Jewish names.
Right. Okay. Wasn't that more like Ellis Island vibes?
It continued, like a lot of celebs, you know?
I love the idea that people were changing their names at Ellis Island to sound sexier.
My ancestors, all they cared about was
Like
changing
there was some
their name.
insoon like faggy like
And was like, that's not
immigration
sexy
officer
enough.
just being
Stamp.
like, okay, let's spice this up a bit, bitch.
Here's my question. It seems like back in the day, all you needed to do to become a real estate agent was like circle listings in the New York Times and like go up to people and be like, do you want an apartment?
No, I mean her business advice throughout this book is so insane and totally predicated
And
on like
so vague
the most
and just
insane like ancient world where like, oh, if you don't have any press about yourself, honey, like cut out like words from a magazine, like paste them with nail polish on a piece of construction paper, put it up in your window, and people will think you had a headline written about you. And there's nothing wrong with it, honey. Fake it till you make it. And it's just like, okay, not everyone. It's like,
Oh, yeah. It's all
using,
about
like,
filling in the blanks.
right, and like using your imagination because you're dyslexic. And it's like, I love that, but it's also like, you know, these days. Well, actually, you know what?
I don't know. As a business owner myself, I was trying to think, how could I use her tips for
Right.
my personal speed dating business that I run?
Okay, well, how would you do it?
Well, I was confused because nothing related to it at all. But a little bit. It was like she was like, I put out an ad in the New York Times. It's all about filling in the blanks and just like lying to get ahead. Like when she takes around this like businessman from St. Louis and he's like, I want to buy an apartment. She knows nothing about buying an apartment.
Actually, I thought about this. So this is part of it. So the whole book is like, it goes back and forth between stories from her rise to success and then her childhood. And
it's always lessons from her childhood, and then she'll flash to like 1985 on like 86th Street and how like Fatty Patty kicking her like in the butt in Edgewater related to like her renting an apartment in 85.
Or like how her mother would paint the stones in the garden white to make the garden look nicer. And then that was like how she knew to like paint the walls of her new real estate office cranberry red because it would motivate all her agents.
Here's my question. She has a real dilemma that I feel like in this book when she makes her first like $500 that I really related to. Where she was
I
like,
would love to know what you think about this because obviously I have my opinion about spending money. But I was like, that's kind of interesting because she says,
do you put it back and invest and save into your business, this first $500 check, or she had been eyeing a jacket at Bergdorf's.
Right.
Oh, no, she hadn't even, or do I buy a fancy jacket?
Right. Well, here's what, I mean, so what would you do? So you get a big check.
I would spend.
I feel like you're spending it, but you're not spending it on something fabulous. You're just kind of like,
slowly
I don't know, like,
dwindling.
I like went to sushi and then like I took a lift and then like it kind of just like all was gone.
I would buy like one like polo probably for like 30. Then I would have like one dinner and then I'd be like, okay, and the other 200 I'm absolutely saving. Yeah. And then like an Uber would happen and then I would get a bill and then like it would be gone.
So what I do when I, you know, make, I don't know, 5 or 6K, I usually spend the first 600 online shopping. Then I'll go spend another 1,500 at opening ceremony. I'll completely black out. I'll walk out of the opening ceremony with a pair of shoes, like 6 shirts and a pair of pants.
So many lavender bell bottoms.
Then the rest I save. But here's why I spend the 1,500. And I think it's the same reason that Barbara does. It's because you do need to like pump yourself up to give yourself this sense of power.
Exactly. When I put on some cool new polo and I can walk into a room, I feel like
and you can,
$200.
You can sell a 1-bedroom and offer it up as a 1-bedroom with a den, which is one of the like her secrets to success, which is that she was like
putting
the
up
very
the wall.
first apartment she ever sold. She like asked the guy owning the business where she was a receptionist at if she could try and sell this one apartment, and it was advertised as a 1-bedroom. And she was like, and I saw this living room with the dining alcove, and I said, if we put up another wall in here, we can call it a den. And all of a sudden,
you can do $20 more on this apartment.
and she was like, and we sold it for $340 a month. Or it's always these like, also like apartments are very like rented by the week. I feel like it's just like,
everything is rented by the week. It's like I was paying $147 a week, and I live with 3 gals, and we had a couch borrowed from just like Jan's father.
Jan's father, and everyone's like a cable girl, and it's just like, okay, this is fully the 20s.
I mean, yeah, but you save it. I mean, right, like words, so we're kind of at the same, I guess, idea.
Well,
but I think mine dwindles.
I think you do need. I think it is good to make a big purchase when you have a ton of money, and here's why. My stockbroker once told me.
We're just really on different planes
No,
here.
not at all. Not at all. And I encourage you to have this conversation with your stockbroker. We're having a conversation. My stockbroker is also very just like has a bow tie and like lives in the 1970s and like is always sending like something.
Oh yeah, and your stockbroker's your daddy's friend. Am I right?
Yeah. Pardon me that I'm loyal, that I'm not just going to go run off, go to Vanguard, find some fucking floozy at Vanguard to represent me and my money when my father has been friends with this man for decades.
I actually do have a Vanguard IRA that I put $20 in a month.
You are such a fucking fake ass hoe. Just being like, actually, I'm so poor and like workers' rights. And then it's like, you fully have a Vanguard.
Yeah. Because I fucking set it up and I am saving.
Okay. Anyways, my stockbroker, we were having some like long conversation. He was just like, Steven, always invest in yourself. And it's true. Because I was like, oh, do I want to take this like improv class at UCB? Like, do I want to buy these speakers because I like to make music at home? And he was like, yes, bitch. Like, go all the way off, buy those speakers, take that class. Because what it is an investment in you.
Absolutely.
And so if you think of something as it's, experiences are great and everyone, and, Mark Cuban always talks about how experience entertainment is the next frontier. Everyone's been there. But you know what? And yes, experiences are memorable. But it's one thing to buy martini. It's another thing to buy a fabulous coat that's going to make you feel fabulous when you walk into that meeting.
You walk into the boardroom.
Because that is how you make more money. Because people say, this puppy's got her eye on the ball. This gal knows the cut of someone's jib and knows what time it is, and she's ready to go to the races.
I also think Barbara Corcoran just has this gorgeous charm throughout, and it's like that she's always dealing.
She's got the gift of gab.
And her grandmother, like Nana Willoughby or whatever, was like, you're going to be a star, and you have like dark hair on your arms.
Oh, wait. Okay, actually, you know what I just realized? So it's actually so similar to, she's like, use the gifts you have, right? So the mom was always telling all the kids in the house, like,
she was like, you're going to be a great mom because you're good at like folding sheets to another kid.
Right. Out of the 10 kids. And like, Timmy Two Toes, like, you're going to be good at like being gay because you're always like gossiping and like peering over fences. And like, you're going to be a CIA agent and like be gay. This is my fantasy now. But she was like, Barbara, like, you're going to be a star because like she was the one who's been directing like the plays. Which is very that thing where it's like everyone who's famous was just like, I was always doing plays when I was a kid. So we went to this. We went to a talk.
I would say a
scam, like a wealth management like meeting that she was speaking at
Jerome College or something in the Bronx.
This like public community college like in the Bronx that was at 10 a.m. So I heard about it because I got some weird email that was like, are you a fan of Barbara Corcoran? Like, come to her on wealth management like speaking engagement in the Bronx like on this date.
And we were like, get the fuck out of town. Barbara Corcoran for free, 10 a.m. the Bronx, Tuesday? How are you giving these away? Well, first I would also like to say that since it was so far away from our homes, at first we looked at hotels.
And at first I actually did book a hotel at this like Wyndham
in the Bronx
and
Zoo.
then I started, it was in the Bronx Zoo. It was like the Bronx Zoo Wyndham. And then I started reading all the reviews and they were just like,
it's blood-stained, it's vomit stains.
There was vomit everywhere,
the sheets crunched. So we said, you know what, let's just wake up early. So we thought also stupidly it was just going to be Barbara. So
Yeah.
we got there
We
like
didn't really
so
get
on
what a
time.
scam like wealth management event is like. So obviously it's like we get out and I'm like rushing. We're like stomping through this community college, like going through like so many campus vibes, getting to this massive auditorium. And then like there's like so many barkers being just like, Barbara Corcoran, Shark Tank, this
Buy
way,
this,
this
buy
way,
this.
Shark Tank, this way. We get them. There's like so many things and it's like sign it. And there's like it's actually cacophony. Like all these people are like kind of like bewilderedly filing into this massive auditorium. We like go in and sit down.
Basically, we go through, it's 3 hours of these snake oil salesmen, and they're all just being like, know your portfolio. Like,
And it was so sad because this guy was selling this like software program that was so fucking 80s and like Dell.
put it on, it's like a CD-ROM you put on your PC. And
It like tells you like stock prices and it's like, just like literally Google a stock. And then it was like, and you can like buy and sell and trade. And then literally like, it was like, okay, now like you can get up and come sign up for this. Like, it was like a 2-day course and you get the software or whatever. And it's like $1,000. And like literally dozens of people who obviously do not have the money are like rushing onto the stage.
And then
to
he would
sign
shame
up.
everyone, and to everyone else honest, he'd be like, oh, okay, so I didn't know you were stupid. So it comes around 1 p.m. and I have to be at work at 2.
Yeah,
and
so
we're going to
as-
go ahead and be at 248th Street.
And 269th
Barbara hasn't
Street.
not come on yet.
It's 1 p.m. and you leave because you have to go to work. So by the time Barbara comes on, I'm just alone because I sort of have
You don't
less-
have much to do.
Well,
during
my
the
schedule
day.
is actually more flexible because I am
I'm a freelance stockbroker.
I'm a freelance stockbroker, and I've actually created my schedule that works for me because I'm an expander. Yeah. And we need to talk about expander versus container, and I've got that in a second. And so by the time this starts, it's like it's just me and Barbara, and she comes on. She's in this insane gingham dress, and she looks like full just like Pippi Longstocking vibes, and she does this 20-minute like PowerPoint slideshow that's so kooky and just like Web 1.0 like net art vibes. That's like so many Photoshop pastes of just like her head like on like a kooky like
Was it very her
drawings.
Twitter where it's always quotes that are just like, when you think you've given up, that's when you get successful, is when you turn the door and close the door and open the door.
It was little. I mean, it was very honest. It was just this book. It was basically the story of this book.
Her
It was
being like, Ramon
if you don't have big
Simone
breasts, and she
and
told the story
$1,000
of Ramon Simone and like getting the money and just
Where
like,
is Ramon Simone right now?
he's probably fucking kicking himself for ditching
yeah.
Barbara for
for this
the secretary
Tanya or whatever. Tina.
most secretary name. What's so fucked up? So one day he tells her, Barbara, I'm leaving you for the secretary and I'm marrying Tina. They still work together
For an entire year?
which is psychotic. Which is honestly very lesbian.
It's very lesbian. I was like, that's very
Literally
me and my
you living with
ex-girlfriend.
your, like-
But imagine if me and also her name was Barb, so Barb and Barb
Literally
here.
was you.
Imagine if we ran a business together.
What, you and Barb? I mean, you literally do. You're always being like, Barb, come do this clean
I mean,
for
actually,
me.
that's what I was just about to hire her for a clean, so we actually do. And I was being so Barbara, actually, when I went to go price this clean, and I did wear my finest Ralph Lauren button down when I came and looked at this like house.
And then what happened?
Well, I demanded the price I deserved.
Okay.
$550. And he said, okay, and he didn't bat an eye.
Oh, and for those of you who don't know,
I'm
Lily
a
is
naughty
a maid.
little French maid.
Lily makes money as a cleaning person.
Cleaning person, thank you. I specialize really in the organic cleaning industry.
And you have clients all over the city.
Yeah, but they're Upper West. I really only have one Upper East, who's the most Upper East Side person in the entire world. But, Anyway, I'm always carrying a Swiffer in my backpack.
And actually, you'll remember we were at a Halloween party at MoMA PS1 that I was hosting, of course, because in my capacity as a rising voice of the left.
Moderator, host.
And Lily arrived and
My backpack from work, my little Adidas sack. And usually,
Full of
like,
your cleaning
people
supplies.
look in the backpack and are, like, confused and are like, what is this? And then I'm like, cleaning supplies, and they're like, okay, fine. But this time, they were, like,
this is
so
the security
sketched.
at MoMA PS1.
Yeah, they saw that liquid and they were like, not on our watch. You will not be coming in here and Windexing Orion Tricarton. I know you want to, but you won't. And then they were like, what are these metal poles? And I was like, this is a Swiffer. And I guess no one knows that a Swiffer can come apart.
Yeah, most people aren't transporting their Swiffer around the city. Most people's Swiffer just sort of sits in their house in a closet.
Hack people. You want to save space in your New York City apartment? Take apart your Swiffer.
Okay, I just found this old tweet that I wrote.
We're quoting your tweets now?
Well, no, I just remember because she was being so
horny, right?
Okay, these are things that she did in the talk.
That's very Barbara of you, though, to be like, let me pull up one of my old tweets. It's one of my greatest quotes.
I do have some good quotes. Okay, so it's also very Lori to be like posting a weird fake meme that's like a quote from yourself. Okay,
yeah.
So she talked about losing her virginity and how to Ramon Simone, who was the first guy she ever met, because her parents like slept on a fold-out couch in their living room.
Right, the old leather, like, tie legs.
And she, like, made this, like, sassy joke just being like, well, and you can guess what my parents were doing on that fold-out couch. She did have 10 kids. Just being like...
My mom was fucking all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. It's like her parents' marriage sounded like so 50s, where her dad was always like smoking a cigar in his lazy boy. Also, like how their family, we talk about how their family had so many intercoms in their home. Like early style vintage intercoms. She was like, and here's a lesson. Be somewhere like at the same time so you can get double the work done. Dad borrowed a reel-to-reel from his Uncle Tony.
Oh, the reel-to-reel, yeah.
And then like the mom also had an intercom just to like tell kids to like come to the bath.
She's so always just like having so much Betamax technology.
And it's so just like, and Bell Telephone provided us with an intercom.
And I will respect the receptionist at Bell forever. Okay, another thing she did at the talk was call someone in the audience a handsome hunk. And it was just like random guys just being like, I want to start a business. She's like, oh, you handsome hunk over here.
She invested in Shark Tank on those Lobster Brothers.
Oh, yeah, the Cousins Lobster.
Right, and she's always like posing with them, and they're these like big
and she's,
mane
like,
guys
soaking through her like pastel body contours. She also invested in those like skincare Italian guys, those brothers Nardo's Naturals. I don't know if you remember this, and they just like oil and there's like essential oils, but they were like hot brothers because there's always some.
It's always brothers.
There's always a group of 4 brothers being like, we invented a water bottle that works every time you're at the gym, and like, oh wait, sharks, like when you like are really thirsty, but like your water bottle isn't connected to like a separate cooler that also like comes out of your center console of your car. Like we invented this weird like traveling cooler for game day. She's like, I'm not crazy about the product, but I'm crazy about you guys.
And that's what I said. It takes 10% to do 100%. And if you show me 300%, I'll give you $1.2 million.
Okay, and just to sort of put a bow on this.
Yeah, on her horniness.
So she also told someone else in the audience that he could call her Barbie.
Oh, so slutty.
I know.
What was his vibe, though? Was she like, you can call me Barbie?
It was like some like sweaty ass, like nerdy guy in a fleece who was like so balding.
Right. It's like, how do you think she got all these... She knows how to charm a man, but she doesn't let them get the goods.
I mean, she's
always like charming, like Mr. Albanese or just like Mr. Cofastanzi had an office on 79th.
Well, and she's very that women of that. She's very like first wave feminism, being very just like, honey, use what you got.
Her office sounds extremely First Wives Club when Ramon Simone dumps her.
So
and she
the
gets
cranberry,
because she gets her office above
and
his.
She's like, and I paid a little more I paid like $11 more a month to rent charcoal desks
instead
as opposed
of the
to black.
And I was like, what did that do?
I'm like, how different? I mean, then at the same time, though, I'm like kind of maybe a matte charcoal is actually a lot more like inspiring to a realtor.
Probably maybe these like insane like accountant like
these
tin desks,
tin metal desks that are
I always
shiny.
feel that, you know what I mean? When let's say you're at the grocery store, okay,
okay,
and maybe get that middle price thing. Don't get the generic, don't get the creepy chicken that's like filled with so many hormones, but you're like, I don't want to get this like air chilled like $40 chicken because that's ridiculous. So I'll get this like whatever supposedly cage-free chicken that's kind of mid there. You don't see
Lily's
what I'm talking
Tips, mid-price chicken. I mean, I will say I think that's actually probably where most people land. I think a lot of people shop based on price. And they assume something that like the $7 sausage is going to be better than the $4, but the $13 is too much, and they go for the $7.
And a lot of the times, sometimes between the 7 and the 13, it's the same thing.
Wow. Truth to power.
Absolutely that about cleaning products.
Did you see the episode that was... I'm
like so not caught up.
Okay, so there's this terrifying company that's knife sharpening by mail, and you put...
Maybe I did see
and
that.
it was this like total like hot serial killers from Sweden, and like
I mean, I would do that. I always need my knives sharpened, and I'm like, what am I going to do? Carry around my knives in the subway to go to Williams Sonoma and get them sharpened?
Okay, but don't people have that little rod that comes with the like knife set that sharpens them?
I mean, I've had that rod in the past. I don't have that rod currently, but also you really do need to do it in a specific way. And yeah, I would love to have it.
You don't have a Japanese like whetstone.
Yeah, I mean, I know like I do want.
Okay, I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
I want a strong man in kind of a steel coveralls.
Well, so what happens with this knife sharpening by mail is they send you an envelope and you put your knives in an envelope. It just sounds terrifying.
So it's Rent the Runway, but for knives.
It's Rent the Runway for knives, and you send them off and they sharpen them at some stonery somewhere, and then they send them back to you.
But then what happened to our local knife sharpeners, you know?
Well,
so taking away their jobs.
Very my mom. Right?
Right.
My parents randomly live in the Ritz in Boston, and she's always calling the like concierge for just like things that are really not their job. And like I just hear my mom like pick up the phone and like call down to the concierge. She's like, "James, do we have anyone in the building who sharpens knives?" And like he was just like, I know, like we don't have a knife sharpener, like.
Which is actually kind of shocking because they have a restaurant, so actually they should be able to sharpen her knives.
Okay, call them out on their bullshit.
I will.
Celebrity Book Club.
Okay, I just watched this Barbara video where she was showing her favorite place in her house, and it was kind of like a daybed by a window. And she was like, "This is my favorite spot."
I mean, that's
in
so
the house.
People are always saying they're like reading nooks are their favorite spot, and it's
I don't believe it.
No, I don't.
I don't. It's like, are you curling up in this
little? Fucking curling up in a nook with a book and their tea to be like, now's my me time.
And she's like, perfect. And I can yell at Tommy over there, and I can say, Bill, get the dinner ready. And the park I know is right behind me. Her just being like, I have views of the park, but I'm not looking at it.
I'm sorry. It's just like everyone who says their nook is their favorite spot is lying.
I mean, that's just being so real estate agent because she's trying to sell people with nooks and people dream of what they'll do in the nook, but then they don't use the
then
nook.
They don't actually use the nook and they don't finish that book, unlike us.
Who are like
always finishing
powering
books.
through books. Boom, boom, boom.
So another thing that I wanted to get into was her discussion of expanders versus containers. So she has a lesson, and she actually talked about this in her talk. So she talks about expanders and containers, and she's like, there's some people in the world who are expanders and some people who are containers. Expanders are like creative people,
crazy ideas.
And they're crazy, and they're go, and they need to be sort of corralled so that their ideas and their creativity can like be executed, have a lane. And then there are containers who are like super organized people who like are necessary for any business because like they help the creativity and like kookiness of the expander people find a lane.
Like, for instance, we kind of like...
Is Steve Jobs an expander, a container?
Right, and was his container.
Right, he was an expander, was a container. But like Tim Cook is maybe not an expander, and he's a container.
What about
he's
Tim
a bottom.
Gunn? Tim Gunn is a container.
Right. He is an absolute container. I mean, is she just saying top versus bottom? Like, where's she going with this?
I identify as an expander.
Same. I think we're both expanders.
We're both crazy expanders.
We're both totally crazy people, and we need to be reined the fuck in.
And like, I need someone to like give me the to-do, you know what I mean?
I mean, at the same time, I can also be like a psycho container.
You can be, I wouldn't say you're all expander. I would feel like you can be a container.
And I can be like, so whatever, like spreadsheet and like sending like 17,000 texts. But I still think that my energy around containment is still quite expansive. And it's like a little bit hectic and like overly verbose or whatever. And it's like not totally.
But you're blah, 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 this, blah, blah,
I'm
blah.
Blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. And I think your container ultimately is like not trying to take the spotlight or...
I think also some people are bi, you know?
Conspanders. Okay. Holly Hunter, expander or container?
Container.
In this weird way, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Not
I just
that
watched
I really
her
know.
app on Succession, which you don't watch, right? I was like,
you watch Succession?
Yes. Sorry, I'm a straight person.
Basic ass straight person going to the fucking food hall Sunday morning with your girlfriend and your dog. Sunday nights are for Succession. Around here, no one speaks during Succession. Yeah, it's a church. Sorry. I can't believe you fucking watch.
I want to dump this seltzer on you now, but I won't.
Okay, I just thought that we kind of had a pact where like we weren't gonna fucking be basic and watch Game of Thrones.
No, but I'm also not gonna tweet about it like every second, just being like, I'm not gonna play the Succession theme at my wedding.
Okay.
Like I can watch a show. Well, I also like.
Wait, actually, can we read? There's a passage I want to get to. So near the end of the book, she has a passage called The Do's and Don'ts of Effective Email. And I think it kind of really speaks to the time setting of this book, which is very just like, she's always written as if like fax machines are brand new. And she's like, all right, listen, if you're gonna fax.
Or she's like, this is the first time I saw a cellular phone.
Okay, so let me just read this passage. Do's and Don'ts of Effective Email. We all get a lot of email, and like other forms of communication, there are always ways to do it better. 1, don't use email as a way to avoid speaking with people. Speaking with someone reveals and invokes more information than email ever will. So true, body language is key. 2, keep it short and sweet. Short, clear emails show respect for the recipient's time, but terse 1 or 2 responses convey, I have no time for you. That's generally true, and I think she's dead right about that. I would say like a 4-line email is... I mean, I think
You've always told me, and that's probably the biggest takeaway I've taken from you and our friendship is write shorter emails.
And I'm right.
You're right.
Like, when you write an email that's just like, thank you so much, like, you know, like, let's do this, like, will this be happening at the event? Like, let me know best. It's like, that's it.
Rather than like, I was thinking of this and this, because then when I've received emails that are like people's ideas for like 900 pages, you're like,
I know. And
sis.
And a lot of the reason they're so long is because there's all these sort of like self-deprecating qualifications in there. And it's always just like, and I was actually thinking like, and let me know if you think that this might be okay. And I'm totally okay if it's not.
And I'm open to ideas.
And I'm just spitballing here and I'm just shooting over the moon and I'm just like bouncing off what you may have piggybacked off of and like not to be totally rude or like step outside of bounds. And like, this is just an idea and feel free to shoot this down. Okay. Next. Oh, wait. This part's insane. Salutations like, hi, Barbara, give a personal touch when writing to individuals.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi, Barbara.
That's like, like, good tip.
Good tip. Thank you. Please begin every email with hi, Barbara. Billboard yourself with an automatic see my webpage link.
Check out my webpage.
I actually do. And I'm in my signature. It has a link to my Twitter and my I have this Tumblr page for
Wait, that's awesome. Tell me about your email signature again.
Okay, so here's basically going to go ahead and be my email signature.
Stephen Phillips Horst.
No, actually not even.
Stephen PH.
I think, I'm not sure. I think
SPH.
So it actually is going to add just...
Jennifer Lopez.
Just as sent from Jennifer Lopez's iPad. You know, my dad used to get mad at me for getting things addressed to Jennifer Lopez in high school.
I remember.
And it was like so like, and it was like so homophobic.
Really homophobic.
And it was like gender non-confirming. And he was like being so aggro about it. And it actually prevented me from coming out.
Wow. The vulnerability you are releasing right now.
Yeah, this is actually a very vuln pod. Number 8, don't hit the send button right away. I think that's generally true.
That's good.
Although sometimes you need to just like move the fuck on with your life. But it's like you're always sending that most angry email.
I think it's more like, about checking over, especially with the listing. Because remember her whole thing about like blueprints or whatever, and just like everyone needs to like double check their blueprints.
Don't send chain letters or unnecessary large attachments.
It's like
no one likes them.
I don't know. Some people do need to be told not to send spam. I love sending spam personally. I kind of love
you're
forwarding.
Actually a full spam queen.
I love like forwarding Groupon emails.
Forwarding focus group requests.
Yeah, kind of the works. I am a spam bot. Okay, I want to talk about after she sold her company and she goes to the ATM and like discovers she's like actually insanely rich and like pretends to be shocked. Like, oh, geez. Here's a picture of her deposit slip. She goes to the ATM to take out $200. I heard the familiar tat-a-tat-tat, tat-a-tat-tat as the machine counted out the money and was relieved to hear the irk as the stack of 20 slid out the front. I put the cash in my Filofax and took the receipt. On my way to the garbage can by the front window, I took a quick look at the receipt before tossing it in. My arm screeched to a halt. I stared at the receipt in utter disbelief and moved it closer, squinting my eyes to make sure I wasn't imagining things. I turned my head left and then right, and like an owl. She is kind of owl-esque. Looking to see if anyone was watching. No one was. The Yorkie lady passed me and smiled. Moving closer to the window, I tilted the receipt toward the light, take another look. In my bank account, read. Yes, the balance did really read to $46,732,917.32. I was sure of it. I thought, my God, I've got this to show someone. And it's like she calls her mom and tells her, and she's like, can you believe it? And then I took myself out for a big diner breakfast of Eggs Benedict. It's like, bitch, you knew your bank account. There was like $46 million in there when you made that sale. Don't be like so shocked.
You just sold your company for $70 million.
Right.
So you're actually going to go ahead and know that you did just receive that money.
I'm always just like, what? I couldn't believe it's like so 50s, like, gee willikers.
Gee willikers. And I took that check and I framed. I mean, she's so framing checks, framing the first dollar bill,
framing the jacket, framing the receipt from Bergdorf's. I need to frame more checks.
Wait, also, sidebar, I do want to talk a little bit about Barbara on Shark Tank. So as we discussed, she's super horny and always like wanting to invest in guys, but she's also investing in like the random, like what's weird about her is she is like secretly conservative. And I do think maybe she did vote for Trump because
absolutely,
she's always investing in she either invested in like family businesses or like the most Christian businesses. Like she invested in that insane Christian stocking company, Grace and Lace, that was just like those like sexy like leggings that were just like knitwear.
Yeah.
And it's like, so they're like, and we had over $1 million worth of sales, and it's like the most Tennessee like Christian girl autumn socks.
What she doesn't like is someone who thinks they know it all and can't learn.
Well, because she identifies with people who are just like, I'm dyslexic, but I'm going to work twice as hard.
And then like start sobbing. But like when someone comes in with an app and they've already like made $1 million and they're just like, I own this industry, I just want your money. She's like, and that's why I'm out. I don't see the hunger, and why are you here?
No, and she's always calling someone and just be like, you know what? I got a bad feeling in my mouth, and I don't like the way you're talking about it. And my mama always told me, don't trust someone if you don't trust them. So I'm not going to trust you.
She also goes in on a lot of deals with her fellow female shark, Lori, which I love.
No, and she's all about female power.
Right. Like she's not just like siding with Mark Cuban.
Oh, but what I wanted to say earlier when I was mentioning the knife company, she wanted to invest. They all like suddenly got so hungry for these knife sharpeners. And I think Lori got the deal, but like it was like they were all fighting for the guys, and then like they left the room to talk amongst themselves, and like Lori got up in her little like dress with so many cutouts and like marches over, and like in her 8 caplets, and she was like trying to invest, and then like all of a sudden like Kevin got up and like went over and like tried to talk to them, and then Barbara gets up and she's holding a knife and she just walks over and she's just standing next to them, just slamming the knife in her hand, just like so menacingly, like waiting for it like to literally just fully stab Lori. But then Lori got the deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to watch it. There's these photos, if you Google Lori and Barbara, of them doing the Charlie's Angels on a step and repeat. And that's the thing. She knows how to have fun.
Yes.
She's always roasting Mr. Wonderful. She'll roast all the guys.
No,
and she doesn't really roast Lori.
No, she doesn't roast Lori. And she'll tell Mark, she'll be like, oh, Mark, you're being such a bully. Shut up. Like, she'll put him in his place.
Right. She'll be like, don't listen to him. He's a scam artist.
Although I do think that she rolls her eyes like they all do whenever Lori brings out her, like, golden ticket.
Yeah, she'll eye roll at Lori, who's just so like, well, I have 165 patents at QVC.
Right, but she'll say it, she's like, every season there is one idea that's, I always say, it's either a zero or a hero. And this one is a hero. And they're all just like, oh my God, Lori, like, shut up.
Stop with your ensuing madness.
But then it works, and then the people pick Lori, and she's just like, sorry, bitch. And then she makes
why Lori's so
$130 million of Scrub
I wonder
Daddy.
who's richer, Lori or Barbara?
I mean, Scrub Daddy alone has had sales of over $200 million.
And Lori is Scrub Daddy.
Yeah, I think that Scrub Daddy money is taking her all the way to the bank. Segment vibes. What does she wear? What does she eat?
How does she live?
So what does she wear? I mean, we know that Barbara
she wears, as we said, the blue bodycon dress. Also, big, chunky white pearls.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she's an Upper East Sider at heart. She, like, in this entire book, she never leaves the Upper East Side. Like,
no.
She is, but she's not so Chanel skirt suit.
No, it's more like Mom and the Go. Well, my coworker in the maid business.
Okay.
Who's kind of like a no-filter ex-Marine, someone with a lot of demons, I would say.
Yeah, middle-aged?
Middle-aged, 50, horny as well. He ran into Barbara on a mini golf course in New Rochelle. And she was wearing... And he took a photo with her, and he was like,
"Oh!" And posted it on Facebook.
Posted on FB, and also showed it to me on his big Android, and was like, "She was so hot, Lil. She was so hot." But he was with his girlfriend, so he couldn't fully horn out, I guess, on the mini golf course.
How old is this man's girlfriend?
She's also probably in like her 60s, 50s. They're similar age, yeah.
She in the biz too?
I know, she's a school teacher.
Oh, cool.
But Barbara was wearing a big, puffy yellow vest. Yellow.
Yeah. She likes bright colors. I mean, this is also very her whole, like, mantra throughout the book of just being like, wear bright colors so men will notice you.
Your big red coat.
You want to stand out? Get a big coat, paint your walls red, put pigtails in your hair. I mean,
it was also 80s vibes, power tie.
It's color-based. But I think casual vibes, she's just like, I mean, she's very thin.
So thin.
So I think she's probably wearing, like, jeans with the slightest flare. And they're kind of soft. Like, don't you think she's the kind of woman who, like, is maybe shopping at those weird stores, like on Martha's Vineyard, that kind of just, like, sell
for women,
for women, like a store for middle-aged women that just, like, sells sweaters, and it's kind of, like, random and, like,
it's not totally designer,
heard of any of the brands that are in there,
but it's expensive, and she's wearing a sweater. But I think it is probably also. I feel like she is wearing a lot of like heat tech. Like on the day errands.
Because it's more tight. I guess she is just only wearing like form-fitting outfits.
And she's in Whole Foods like looking like she's like freezing or something.
Yeah.
And then on the set of Shark Tank.
Shivering in Whole Foods. The Barbara Corcoran story.
She's in her signature blue dress.
Right.
How does she live? Clearly she lives in her like massive Upper East
I think
home with the daybed.
I think that her decor sense is... Again, like in that sense where she's not...
It's big white couches.
It's big white couches because like she's not... in the obviously, Upper East Side apartments, as you know, because you clean a lot of them in your job, like they're dusty and they're so frilly and they're so being like so like rococo and like old and like there's so many rugs and it's like...
It's not sharp edges.
No, it's like Cambridge wet and dye there. It's like so... It's just like... I don't think that she
that's more Upper West.
Oh, I guess then maybe that's more
Upper East is like...
But isn't it so like
shades of vanilla? It's like 1997.
Okay.
Sometimes stuff is modern, but like in kind of this weird,
in a heavy, chunky way.
Yeah, it's heavy, big, funky glass lamp.
It's those tables that have like a big sort of metal curved leg underneath that goes in. Do you know what I mean? And it's like glass but wood. I remember doing when I used to work in politics, and I was a fundraiser for Scott Stringer, who is now the Comptroller of New York. Doing fundraisers at people's apartments on the Upper East Side. And it was very like, it was a lot of like day chaises.
Well, as you know, my favorite Upper West Side client that I cleaned for is like, everything is monogrammed.
Upper West Side?
Upper East Side.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I think Barbara lives on the Upper East.
Yeah, she's so East. Oh yeah, it's very monogrammed.
Yeah, so monogrammed, view of the park, cushions, white fabric.
Oh wait. I realize we haven't even talked about her husband.
Oh, Wild Bill
Higgins, former FBI agent.
I bet he fucks like a rock star.
Which is also so 80s of her. Yeah, I mean, she has to. She's the horniest person alive. She needs to get fucking wrecked. She's the kind of person who, like, you can tell likes to be strangled.
Yeah, shivering.
Yeah. Like, she wants to get choked out. Like,
I think she's a switch.
Oh, you think she's, like, pulling up the strap?
I think sometimes she puts on a pair of high heels and she steps on Bill Higgins.
Okay.
Like what on Valentine's Day? You know what I mean? She's so Valentine's Day.
Oh, she's so Valentine's Day. Like she's so
busy.
She's so busy, but then it's like, and you know what you got to do every once in a while is surprise your man. Go to Fredericks of Hollywood.
Get
yourself
some lingerie.
a nasty little corset and a whip and like a...
Okay, I also feel like she's so... They're like so those like creepy...
vanilla
like,
tasting lube.
Middle-aged couples that like actually do have sex a lot. She's like, sure, me and Bill make love 4 times a week. And it's like 3 minutes long.
So you think that's creepy?
When like old people fuck. Well, you know, I'm very pro
more
elders.
ageism from Lily Murata.
I'm very pro old people loving each other.
But she's also like, you know, she's like so up at 6:30 a.m. and like having her coffee with her tea and like
espresso, yogurt, apple,
yeah,
grilled chicken, almonds.
Which I guess
fitting in the
sort
time?
of brings us to what she eats. I mean, she's like defining Activia vibes. Like she's like downing yogurts.
It's just a go-gurt. And like maybe she goes to Balud and gets like a steamed fish.
I don't know. I mean, she literally, again,
I don't think she's even really eating. She's on set.
She's not eating.
There's
she's
craft.
having a couple almonds, like, and a yogurt, and.
But I think also she's like 80s. Like she's not trying to be like probably somewhere Cuban and like sliders ever. She's like, I will have a white wine at the end of the night, and it's, you know.
No, I mean, it's very like, you know, she comes from an 80s time where it's like the men had steak and the women had water.
Right. And maybe they had like a steamed spinach.
Right. And that was enough for her. But, you know, I think at that age, you know, you don't need to consume a lot of calories.
When you're old?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, in general, I don't think Barbara is doing a ton of eating. But I'm sure that like she cooks a meal also in a very Valentine's Day way for her husband like once a month.
I guess. I don't know.
No, she's like sometimes to inject a little romance. Like I got home and I cooked this one chicken. No, I'm saying she cooks for her husband.
Right. I don't think Wild Bill Higgins is cooking.
Absolutely not.
I bet he is a famous dad, pancakes. And she's like, Bill and his pancakes.
Right.
Yeah, I do want to know more about Barbara's marriage, but I guess I'll just have to stalk her.
I mean, I actually do think that the level of horniness she exhibits on the show shows that she actually is getting fucked in this way.
You don't think it's all show?
Or maybe
it's a little game she's playing with her husband and he watches her getting so horny for these lobster brothers.
Right.
And that's why he really has to deliver it on 78th Street.
I think that there's this deliver it.
Deliver the love.
Yeah, he gives her that big raw T-bone from Peter Luger's.
T-bone.
I mean, she's more Peter Luger than Balud, I feel.
Because it's like Long
She's
Island
so like, I'm not trying to have that like fancy shit. Like, I don't need it to be so caviar. Just give me the tried and true.
Give me the T-bone.
Trump Tower. I feel like the age-old debate is like, does, you know, horniness outside the marriage and or even being in an open relationship make the actual marriage hotter or less? And I don't know.
I feel like it fires it up.
You think it fires it up?
Yeah.
I think it can.
I think it can. I mean, unless Wild Bill Higgins is getting like so jealous. But also, here's the question. Is Wild Bill Higgins being wild when she's being a workaholic, you know, flirting with Mark Cuban till 11 p.m. at night? Is he getting a little something on the side?
Right.
And is she fine with that? Maybe they're open and we have no idea.
Honestly, let's be honest for a second. If we could can I just be honest with you for a second?
Cut the shit.
Can we actually just cut the shit for a second? I feel like probably 50% of like boomers' marriages are like have like a secret arrangement that they've never mentioned or spoken about, but just like there's been at least one affair, if not multiple, throughout.
Well, and I would go as far as say I would feel like that's like the known arrangement and like Mad Men era, right? It's like when you know, you're a man, but you don't admit it.
You don't admit it.
And I feel like boomers actually were trying to be a little more like open about it and shocked if someone had an affair.
Right, and they're fanning shocked.
The 50s is more like classic arrangement where like, of course, like he went out with his secretary and I didn't ask. Right. Because that wasn't a woman's place.
Okay, last segment. Who are you in the back? Okay, you. Oof. Well, obviously you want to be
Ramon Simone.
He's literally your dream man.
But also, am I those like Italian men who are like so sus of her, who bought all those buildings by the United Nations?
The Gaffani brothers?
The Gaffani brothers.
You are the Gafani brothers.
And I'm just being like, don't cross me. And how do I know you're not going to do this to me? But I also could see myself randomly as just like Esther, just like the woman she hires who she...
The container?
I'm not Esther. Okay.
You could not be less Esther. Esther is the ultimate container. The girl she describes as like her purse was so organized that she knew that like she had to hire her to like help her organize her business. It's like...
But she was like a purse. It was more like a filing cabinet masquerading as a purse.
You could not have a less organized purse.
I'm absolutely not Esther.
You were literally like threatened by security for having a messy purse full of metal rods.
Okay, you...
Am I like the Taiwanese realtor who's like such a fast talker?
A fast talker, and like all like you come out of nowhere and it turns out you've been like made $500,000. That actually part was the most, just to go back to Shark Tank for a minute. It's like when people come on Shark Tank, like all the sharks are always so suspicious, and then they reveal that they actually have like $1.2 million Instagram
in sales. Yeah.
And like so many Instagram followers, and then everyone is just like, I'm sorry, excuse me?
And and the music changes, and then they all start nodding and clapping, and then they're just like, we've spent zero on advertising, it's all social media, and Mark just like claps.
And then they show like a photo of like a woman in like a flannel, like holding a water bottle. And they're like, this was our first post. It got 2 million likes.
Oh, wait.
I was saying, I feel like the Taiwanese woman is very Shark Tank.
Thank you. I agree.
So you are her.
I am her.
Anyway, I was obsessed with this book. She has like 800 other books that are like landing the deal and other things I learned from growing up in Edgewater.
But I think that this book was...
It's probably the main
ticket, and it's fun, and it's kind of a pre-Shark Tank book, so it's not as much of a fucking...
Oh, this is what I did.
Cynical cash grab as maybe like some later Sharks books.
Ooh,
not to name names, but like all of Laurie's fake-ass books. Right, and his like lame-ass book is about just like...
Right, and it's just so 80s, and it's a window into, if you're really into like the Upper East Side.
Yeah, if you're into Manhattan at a certain time.
Cabs, LaGuardia, JFK.
Old restaurants.
Then, pick it up.
And definitely get the version that says if you don't have big breasts, put rims on your pigtails, because it's just fun. It's fun to have that around. It's a conversation piece.
It's fun. People are like, what's that on your bookshelf?
You'll leave it on your coffee table. They're like, oh, that's a fun title.
And they're like, that book is ridiculous. And then you say, you want to look at my ATM receipt? Yeah. That's $46 million that I made
how ridiculous
since reading this book.
Am I now? Apply the lessons.
Next week's book is one that I am so fucking excited to sink my little teeth into.
Your tiny little
sharp little gay teeth.
Or actually, I feel like this book is a little more big gay teeth.
It's so big gay teeth.
Yeah, we're talking about none other, I'm sure you're already guessing it, Tan France's book, Naturally Tan. Tan France of
Queer Eye reboot fame. The fashion one.
The British one.
The British fashion one.
So get a crop blazer.
Get a floral button down and get excited.
Get to it. Get it the full length.
I can't wait to do makeovers with you.
Oh, yeah. We're going to do a live makeover where I'm going to like put you in slim denim.
I just bought slim denim.
Oh, my God. Well, and I'm in my new pants.
I feel like both of our styles kind of turning into Tan France style anyway.
Yeah, by next week, we're both just in like floral button down, crop blazer, bonobos pants.
And I did it. It was so tan because I did go to APC to buy jeans and I had them tailored at the store. And it's such a tan thing to be like,
go to the store.
And the store will actually do tailoring for you. And so many people don't know this. But it's so much better.
That's an investment.
That's an investment to yourself and your own wardrobe. And they'll be happy to do it. Have them pin it.
You know, rather than go to the store and buying, these cheaper jeans, if you invest in a really good pair of jeans, they'll tailor it for you.
And this shows a woman that you're serious about commitment.
A man who's serious about his jeans is serious about commitment.
This will show that potential boss in an interview that you have an attention to detail.
So yeah, if you're addicted to our Tan France impressions, stay tuned for next week.
Yeah, don't drop off your listenership. Fucking poser. Okay,
best. Doll. Celebrity Book Club is presented by Prologue Projects and HeadGum. The show is produced by Meg Murnane with editorial support from this hot guy, Andrew Parsons, and this smoking man, Leon Nafok. Engineered by Ferris Monchi. Original theme song by Stephen Phillips Horace. You know him, 68 Woodstock. Artwork by Teddy Blanks. I fucked him at Chips NY. Follow us on Twitter at CBC The Pod. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Leave us a review. Hell, and don't forget to tell your friends or your enemies about us.
That was a HeadGum podcast.